Hello, Mrs. Smith. My name is Michael O'Brien, obviously, and so just got a couple of questions for you. As you know, you're a senior client operations manager at Computer Center, and so I'd just like to start off with, what does a typical day look like at Computer Center?
Well, I service an account called Meta Platforms, which is the parent company of Facebook. And they're a very high volume customer for us. In the last year, they've done 4x their sales. So my days recently have been very busy, I'd say, in the last year, keeping up with that demand. Basically, it's a customer service role where we sell things to Meta from different manufacturers. We don't actually produce anything, so we get special rates and pricing from different manufacturers. We pass those savings on to Meta, and we're essentially just getting them the hardware, so they buy routers, switches, optics, all of the stuff that runs their data network. We sell to them. They probably have other vendors other than us, but we're a big supplier to them. So it might sound like a simple thing, like they buy the hardware, we get it from the manufacturer, and we ship it to them, but there's so many things that can go wrong between A and B, and Meta's a very demanding customer. So we do everything, we get their purchase orders, but there's always things wrong with them. There is always something wrong with an order. I mean, we're shipping, to give you an idea of the magnitude. So in Q1 of 2023, we shipped $550 million worth of hardware.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't even know if you could, truckloads and truckloads and truckloads and truckloads. And there's so we have a logistics partner that we deal with. I work a lot with them. I have a team of operations people that work for me that do everything from processing the purchase orders to, if there's an invoice screwed up, then we got to deal with that. Meta is pushing out their budgets to 2024, so they're changing purchase orders all over the place. So really, my day, there is no typical day. It's a problem-solving customer service role. So it's basically whatever Meta needs, Meta gets. And we try to figure out a way to be nimble and to work with their needs as it relates to their technology spend. So
Yeah, wow,
it's a problem-solving job. Basically.
Clearly, yeah, it's a lot. Kind of on a similar note, what do you consider to be your greatest strength, and how has it contributed to your success in this industry?
I would say I'll say three things, and that's not just because I think I'm great. I just think that they all kind of go together. I think being a clear communicator, being able to, in email and verbally, just getting the point across, being clear and thinking about how you're communicating with a customer so that you get what you want from them. Like, there's nothing worse than an email that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to respond. And so I think that is a strength. I also think just being highly organized. And I would say being able to multitask. Those would be the three soft skills that I think have probably led to my success.
Understood. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So I know you've been with Computer Center for a while, and I was just wondering how your role has evolved over your career, and if you believe that development would be similar if you were at another company.
Well, I've been with Computer Center for 10 years, but before that, I was raising two boys. I was home with them full time, so I took a little gap. But I was with Accenture, which is a management consulting firm, big one, global presence. Back when I graduated from Indiana, I started working for them. And I think that as compared to a different company, do I think my growth at Computer Center, I think Accenture isn't really like a sales organization. I mean, it is in the sense you're selling services to customers, but it's so big, and I think my impact felt so minuscule compared to the bigger picture. Like, there's just so many people that work for that company, and like, you'd have to grind it out for like, 20 years to be a partner, and like the things that you would have to give up for that would be, I wasn't willing to give. And I think with Computer Center, I'm also in a different part of my life. But it's a sales organization where you have a lot of upside. If so there was that. I like that aspect of it. And I think that it being on the smaller side, I felt like I was able to make a big impact and have it be felt. And people, not that I needed people to recognize me, but I felt like my impact was more appreciated, I should say. And that motivates you to want to do more versus being just like a drop in the ocean, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers the question, but
No, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. Next question I have is, how do you establish and maintain long-term relationships with key clients? I know you talked about the one big client, but if there are any other ones and how that's different.
Yeah, I mean, we have Uber as well. Probably heard of Uber. We have Uber as well. Our revenue with them is not nearly as high, but we have Uber and we have Meta and we have you've probably heard of Pandora or Sirius Radio. We have them. And Sony is also another customer of ours. I'm only on Meta at this point because of the growth. But how do we maintain those? I mean, honestly, just like operational excellence and just really good customer service. Like, just being responsive, being organized, thinking of the customer's needs first. And I think mainly with Meta, just hard work, by the way, and just making good business decisions. I mean, those are kind of intangibles. You can't really quantify them. But I'd say with Meta, we built this interface with them. So we have an automated electronic interface between our systems. And I actually was really involved in that. And my systems background at Kelly, which wasn't Kelly when I went there, but I majored in computer information systems, and then also at Accenture, I was a systems analyst. I think that really benefited me in helping create that interface. And once we got that interface going, like, that kind of put us in another league with Meta. And so once we were able to do that with them and provide them the data they needed out of that, and to deal with their 4x volume, but I mean, they went 4x. I think that was just like, we're in. They almost can't leave. So I think that's really what kind of sealed the deal. And other customers we don't have that with, but we just hustle. I mean, we just hustle for them. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. There's no magic potion. It's just hustle and hard work and putting the customer first.
Understood. Yeah, makes a lot of sense again. So my next question is, how do you collaborate with other departments within your organization, and how does that help meet client needs?
Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately we are responsible, so the account team is responsible for the relationship. Like, Meta doesn't know who's in purchasing and who's in invoicing and who's in finance at our company. Like, they don't talk to those people, right? So they talk to me and they talk to Brent, who's the account executive. So I am responsible for making sure that all the things that go into servicing Meta, all the way from the day that they place the purchase order to the day that they're invoiced until the day that the hardware shows up on their doorstep, that, like, that's my job. Like, it should be seamless and to them. So it's in my best interest to make sure that all those people that touch this ball that goes down the field, that they do a good job. But then ultimately, I can't really rely on them to do their job without me overseeing it. And there's a lot of salespeople that go, well, that's not really my job. Like, we're supposed to invoice the customer. Like, just let the invoice go. It's like, well, if the invoice gets screwed up, like, you need to work with the accounts payable team to make sure that the issues are resolved, right? So I interact with a lot of different people in the company because I have a vested interest in making sure that things don't get screwed up. So I think I work with every aspect of our company to make sure that everything that Meta sees from us is buttoned up. So I could easily just go, oh, well, whatever. But then Meta would have to be like, why is this invoice not look right? Right? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's ultimately on me. I can't point the finger at our accounts payable team. Right? I only can point the finger at myself.
Yeah,
So,
that's impressive that you are responsible for all of that.
yeah.
Really is. Can you talk about a challenging client engagement and how you would go about approaching resolving those issues?
Like an example, like a real life example.
An example or just a general idea would be fine. Whatever's easiest to explain.
I mean, like, probably right now, one of the biggest problems we're having is Meta has a big data center or like a distribution warehouse in Louisville, Kentucky. And they bought all this hardware and they don't have enough space to receive it.
Ooh.
And so it's been very challenging because the manufacturers are shipping things. We have to pay the manufacturer. Computer Center, we bought the hardware from the manufacturer, so we owe money to them, right? We have to pay our bills. But we can't bill Meta. We can bill Meta, but it will go weeks without delivering because Louisville's full. So we're having to schedule appointments in advance, hold hardware, hold it in trucks in other warehouses. Now they want us to ship everything to Vegas because they're building another warehouse, to alleviate the space constraints. So it's been a logistical nightmare and a kind of a financial nightmare, but I've worked with our logistics partner to try to figure out a way to make advanced appointments and to lessen the financial burden of Computer Center and figure out a way to get Meta what they need. So that's been a big challenge as of late.
Yeah, it's a great example. Thank you so much. So next question is, what metrics do you use to identify areas of improvement and to track progress? So basically, how do you measure your success in this industry?
Well, money.
Yes.
The more they spend, the better they think we're doing, right? Or they wouldn't spend money with us. So there's that. Meta measures us, to be honest. So like I said, we have that automated interface.
Yeah.
And so we send to them. So when they place an order, we have to give them an estimated ship date, right? And we have to give them an estimated ship date within 7 days of them placing the order. So we're measured on that. So if we don't give them that in 7 days, then they're like, that's a problem. And then if we say, well, it's going to show up on your doorstep on October 1st, and it doesn't show up on October 1st, we're also measured on that. So the accuracy of when we say we're going to get the hardware to you, does it show up on time? Those are all just hard measurements that Meta measures us by. So they measure us. We don't have to measure ourselves. They measure us. And then the money talks, right?
Yeah.
So I think that them spending 4X with us shows that they trust us and they think that we can handle the volume. Of course, the accuracy of the deliveries is not just us. There's there's a lot of other factors that go into that. But yeah, so they measure us, basically. When you're in a sales thing, they measure you, and if you don't do well, they just take their business somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next question I have is just, how did your experience at Accenture impact your current work experience at Computer Center? I know you kind of got into it a little bit earlier, but if you could just...
Well, the systems piece, right? So, my education in Indiana with the systems integration, and we're learning how to work with, clients or customers, whatever you want to call them, listening to their business needs and what they're trying to solve for, and then figure out how systems can help support that. So that has been a big impact in my job now, an unexpected impact, because I didn't really think that I was going to be building interfaces between Meta and Computer Center. That's not what I was hired for. But it just so happened that was one of their asks from us, and it was a big ask. And I think we did that very well. I mean, unfortunately, the responsibility fell on me for some reason because nobody else knew how to handle it. So I had to just do it, and it was hard. But I think my experience at Accenture and Indiana uniquely prepared me for that. And then I also think that's one of the biggest impacts we've made at Meta. So without that, I don't think we would, the account would be as successful, or I would have been as successful in this role otherwise. So.
Yeah, understood. And then one final question, just what advice would you give to a student interested in pursuing a career in this industry?
I would say that the tech industry is changing a lot. It's very competitive. So you sort of have to be willing to grind. You have to be willing to deal with, changing market environment. Dealing with people who, you're dealing with people that know a lot about technology. So you have to know a lot about technology.
Yeah.
It's not just like selling, like a car or something like that. Nothing against car salesmen, but it's a little bit more. You have to know a little bit more because the people you're dealing with are experts. So just, I think dealing with really rapidly changing market environment, being able to deal with constant change, and being able to hustle. I think learning how to work in teams, being able to work with different people, working well with different people. If you want like a steady salary, that's probably not going to happen, because when you're in sales, it's like it fluctuates. But it's got a lot of upside.
Yeah.
So if you can deal with that like uncertainty, then it's a great place to be, right? You can make a lot of money and have a really good career, but you have to sort of be able to handle all that other kind of stuff. Which is hard. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our interview. Thank you so much again for doing this. Just have a great rest of your night.
Okay. Thanks, Michael.
Bye-bye.
Okay.